Thank you very much. Thank you, Governor Macklem, for being here, and thank you for your availability. Who sets the interest rate for Canada?
The Governing Council of the Bank of Canada.
Right. And you're supposed to do that independently?
Yes.
Okay. At the end of question period, Prime Minister Trudeau yesterday said, and I quote, that and interest rates will be coming down, I'm sure, in the coming months. Have you communicated to the government that you'll be reducing interest rates?
Look, I have regular conversations with the Minister of Finance, but no, I don't. We take our decisions when we take our decisions, and I communicate that decision to the Minister of Finance after we've taken the decision.
So there's no way that the Prime Minister could know that interest rates are coming down?
We haven't taken the decision yet, so.
So there's no way that he would know that interest rates are coming down. Why would he say that?
I think you should ask the Prime Minister that question.
I think we will. I think it's exactly what we're going to ask that. Don't you think that's an irresponsible comment of him to make?
I think you should take this up with the Prime Minister. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. I want to talk, I'm going to switch.
He wants to
gears
say
and
yeah,
talk
but
briefly about, with Ms. Rogers, if that's okay, about productivity. I agree with you in your speech on March 26th, of which you said, this is a breaking glass moment. I want to talk about one particular factor. I know that there are many. You talked about it a little bit in Canada, and you talked a little bit about it in your speech. When you talked about capital investment and the lack of capital investment. Canada is, of course, predicted to be dead last in the OECD. And so we need capital. We need capital to maintain and increasing and to improve our productivity, to grow our economy, and to fight inflation. Is now the time to increase taxes on capital?
Well, as MP Davies pointed out, we have seen declining capital investment over a long period of time and over multiple different tax regimes. We're not tax experts, so we're not going to evaluate any one particular measure. What I would say is there's really three things that go into productivity. There's labor, there's capital intensity, and then there's basically a multiplier in terms of how effectively we use those other two things. Our productivity problem spans across those things. Capital intensity, capital investment is one of those things, but we have room to improve in all three areas.
Yeah, it makes sense, though. Presumably, and some of the issue, I think, is competition. Otherwise, why that investment is not being used by businesses. And I think Mr. Davies makes that point well. But if, in fact, we reduce the amount of pie, we take more money from the private sector and give it to the public sector. If, in fact, Canadian businesses have less investment, less capital, we're going to be less productive. It's basic economics.
Is that a question?
Yes. Or you can get a statement. You can disagree or agree. Sorry, go ahead.
At a basic, so at a basic economic level, that's true. As I said, there's three things that go into productivity. And we have room to improve on all three things. I talked about all three of them in the speech. The other investment's one area.
Another issue in your excellent speech, Ms. Rogers, you talked about was the difference in sort of cultural or societal, sort of that entrepreneurial spirit that experts have commented that the Americans seem to have more than Canadians. One of the things that I'm very challenged by this NDP Liberal government is their demonization of entrepreneurs and of success and of business owners. If, in fact, you hear things like business owners are cheats, if in fact you hear more and more this sort of class warfare, eat the rich type of commentary from the NDP Liberal government, I'm not worried so much about those who are already prosperous, but what I am worried about is those who want to desire to be wealthy. And I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, I think that's a great thing. If in fact we undermine young Canadians' dreams to become wealthy, to become successful, do you not believe that that has the effect of undermining our productivity?
I think Canada has a lot of entrepreneurial spirit. We have a strong education system. We have a lot of the factors that should set us up well to improve our productivity. I'll leave it at that.
That should, but the government's in the way.
Turnbull.